Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everyone. I don't know which time of the day you are watching this video, but regardless, hope you're having an amazing time. I haven't been able to post new content on this channel due to power cuts that we were experiencing in Zambia, but I'm back because the situation is now stable. Today we are going to be dealing with this 2020 internal candidates junior secondary exam. That is the agenda for today. This paper is 1 hour 45 minutes. Obviously you can pause and read through the instructions and take your time. I won't waste any much of your time here. So having said that, let us just start answering the section A part. Section A carries 20 marks because there are 20 questions, and let us begin with the first question of this paper. Question 1 says, which of the following devices is used for output only? Remember this part, it's very important, the only part. Which device is used for output only? Is it the CPU, keyboard, monitor, or touchscreen? The correct answer is the monitor. The monitor is a monitoring device. We're able to see what we are doing on the computer system. I know I say computer, bear with me. On the computer system. Yeah, so that's the answer C. Let us go to question 2. In a spreadsheet, the function equals marks, open brackets, A1 to A8, close brackets. I think it was supposed to is known as, so this is known as what? What do we call this function? This function is called the maximum function. So the maximum function finds the highest value in a range. For example, in this question we have been given a range A1 to A8. So if we add values from A1 to A8, when we use this max function, it will give us the highest or the maximum value in the range. So that's the answer B, maximum. Let us go to question 3. A program used to protect a computer from malware is termed as what? So what do we call that program? We call that the antivirus software. Alright, so that's the name of the program, the antivirus software. We use it to protect the computer from malware or malicious software. Sorry for that. Let us go to question 4. Which of the following is not a multi-user operating system? Which of the following is not an example of a multi-user operating system? So we have a command line interface, Linux, graphical user interface, and Unix. For this one, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not quite sure of the answer. If you know the answer, please leave it in the comment section. I would love to hear it. But as for me, I was puzzled because if you look at A, command line interface, this is just a type of operating system where you're only able to enter commands. And this one on C, graphical user interface, we are able to interact with the computer using icons, menus, and so on. So between B and D, I don't know, I'm not quite sure, but I think maybe it's B. Anyway, feel free to Google and let me know if you have an answer for this. I'll more than appreciate that. Let us jump to question 5. Which of the following is a file extension for an audio file? So which of these is a file extension? So the correct answer is MP3, which is B. If I go on my computer here and I search for a song, I'm not going to play this song because if I play this song, YouTube, yeah, I previously selected this one. So if I search, for example, a song by Watermark, then I right click to check its properties, you are able to see the MP3 extension at the end of the song. So if I go where it says properties, you'll be able to see MP3. Have you seen this part? MP3. So this is the extension for this audio file. So this is just what I wanted to show you so that you get what I'm saying. This JPEG is for images and all that stuff, but for audio files it's a MP3. Let us go to question 6. all can be regarded as text except what? So all can be regarded as text except what? So a punctuation mark or punctuation marks, these are texts, okay? Because you're able to type it, it's more like letters and so on and so forth. Sentences are a collection of text, structured text. Words are text, okay? You're able to send text messages to your friend, you use words, not so. Yeah. But watermark D is not an example of text. Let me show you by opening Microsoft Word real quick. So let me just open Word and I'll be able to demonstrate to you the reason why I'm saying that a watermark is not an example of text. My computer takes long. I'm dealing with this stuff. Okay, let us just open a blank document because I'm just showing you demonstration. No need to do anything fancy here. Where is it? In the design tab, you will be able to see at the right hand corner, the top right corner, watermarks. So if you left click here, you'll be able to see customize. I want to show you something here. So first of all, I want to make sure that you understand what a watermark is. If I hover over this icon here, you're going to see a quick description. The description says that a watermark is a sort of like a background, a faint, something that is faint. As you can see here, it is written draft. Something faint that doesn't disturb the text that you have typed, and it's used to show emphasis. So for example, let me just show you. It will be better if I show you. If I click here, you'll be able to see do not copy. Have you seen? It's very faint. When I type something, as you can see, it's very sharp, but the watermark is very faint. So that's what a watermark is. It's just slightly visible so that it doesn't obstruct the user, but you can read it. So yeah, not getting out of line or out of topic, let me show you where it says custom watermark, and you'll be able to see that not only can you use watermark as text, you can also place an image. So as you can see, you can add a picture watermark here. A picture is not a text, but it's an option for the watermark. This is why I'm saying that a watermark is not an example of text, because there are watermarks that are pictures, as simple as that. So if I can show you, let me just go on pictures, then I select a picture offline. Obviously I will select a watermark from my desktop. I'm doing all this not to confuse you, but to give you a vivid understanding of what I am trying to say. Let's say desktop. Let's use the ECZ logo, insert and apply. As you can see, I have inserted the ECZ logo and it looks very, very beautiful. As you can see, it's very subtle, and it shows that this document deals with something that is from the ECZ, the examination. So as you can see, this is the function of the watermark. So let us go back to our questions and we'll be able to answer the next. Question 7 says, when using a desktop publisher, it is important to consider what? So what is important to consider? So the answer is A. It is important to consider if it will print publications properly. All these that are remaining here all depend on this first answer, because if the publications are not printed properly, all this will be insignificant. So that's why the A is the answer. Let us move on to question 8. Which of the following represents the correct sequence of flow of data in a computer? So the correct sequence of flow of data is, first you input the data, then you process it and it becomes something useful in nature, then you output it. So this is the correct sequence, C. Let us go to question 9. Communicating using computer and mobile devices is called what? The correct answer for this part is ICT, Information and Communication Technology. So this is the communicating using computers and mobile devices. It falls under ICT. Question 10 reads as follows. Which of the following is the definition of a computer room? So which of the following is the definition of the computer room? So the definition of a computer room is C. This is a properly designed and secure room where computers are installed for safe use. So all this ventilation noise that we are seeing on question A and D all fall under properly designed. When a room is properly designed, it means that it is tidy, it is well ventilated. All these things fall under this part. And in computers obviously are installed for safe use. So everything is under C. So therefore the answer is C. Let us move on to question 11. To calculate the number of items in a row or column in Excel, the function used is what? So the function used is count, because we are counting. We want to know the number of items. So the correct answer is A. Let us move on to question 12. A type of barcode when scanned takes a user to an image, video, or website is called what? What do we call this type of barcode? When scanned takes the user to an image, video, or website. The correct answer is C. The QR code or quick response code. So you might see a quick response code looks like squares, but the computer is able to understand it. It's able to interpret everything, and it's very, very, very it can store lots of data as compared to a barcode. A QR code can take a user to a website, to any resource on the internet. You just scan it using your mobile phone and you're good to go. So that's the answer, C. Let's go to question 13. In a word processor, if you type the first 4 letters of a word, the first 4 letters is supposed to be letters, the first 4 letters of a word, e.g. AUGU, followed by pressing the enter key, you obtain the word August. Such a feature is known as what? So this feature is known as autocomplete, because it's completing the word for you. Here you only had to write or type the first 4 letters of August, and it added the last 3, or the last 2, it added the last 2 letters. So that's autocomplete. I can show you autocomplete in action. Let me just open our word program. Let me type AUGU. Have you seen? It's now insisting me to press the enter key. When I press the enter key, boom, August has been typed. It's like Word already knows the word you want to type. Like when you're searching something on Google, it will finish the sentence for you. So this is what the autocomplete does. So as you can see, it has completed the text. So this is not just tied to the months, even days of the week. Monday, MON, D. Have you seen it suggesting me the Monday? And so on and so forth. So the autocomplete is a very handy tool. It makes you carry out your typing and work more efficiently. So let us go back to the questions. Question 14 says, the shortcut method to run a PowerPoint presentation using the keyboard is by pressing the keys what? So what keys do we press? Honestly, I don't know the answer for this one, okay? When I pressed it on my keyboard, I pressed the function and the F4. My computer went to sleep. So this is for sleeping on my computer. I don't know if it's for all computers, but feel free to explore. I'm not quite sure about the answer on this one, honestly speaking. So feel free to give the answer in the comment section. I'll gladly appreciate that. Let us move on to question 15. The purpose of a microprocessor is to do what? The correct answer is C. Its purpose is to process all the data and instructions. So this is the correct function or purpose of a microprocessor. Let us go to question 17. Which of the following set of items satisfies construction of a network in a school computer room? So a network basically means when you connect computers so that they can share resources, not so. So what do you need? What are the items needed for you to create or form a computer network? Let us explore. The correct answer is B. The reason why B is the answer is because you need a network interface card. This will act as a CPU that is able to handle networking stuff such as the signal that is coming in and out and all that stuff, the data packets and so on. Then you need a cable. This is the unshielded twisted pair cable. You need obviously a cable that you need to connect the computer to the switch. So the switch is just like a device that is able to connect different computers. It's like the adapter that connects computers and other resources. So this is enough to create a computer network. So the correct answer here is B. Let us go to question 18. To take a screenshot of the entire screen, a user should press dash on the keyboard. So the user should press Ctrl plus print screen, which is C. So this is the shortcut. You press Ctrl or hold the Control button, then you also hold the print screen button, and that will be able to enable you to take the screenshot of the entire screen of the monitor that you are using. Let us go to question 19. During the copy and paste process, the items are stored in what? So during the copy and paste process, so the items are stored in the clipboard. If I go in the settings, I can just say clipboard, press enter, and you'll be able to see that truly that's where the items are stored when you copy them or when you cut them. They're stored in the clipboard. As you can see, it says that when you copy or cut something in Windows, it's copied to the clipboard for you to paste. So that's the function of the clipboard. It's where items or anything that you copy is stored for you to paste. It awaits for you to paste. And the clipboard is volatile, which means that when the computer is turned off, whatever you copied gets erased. So that's the function of the clipboard. It holds data temporarily, waiting for you to paste it somewhere else. All right, the last and final question is question 20. An operating system can be defined as what? So the correct answer for an operating system is that it is a set of programs that manages the operation of the computer. So that's the sole purpose of the operating system. It operates and manages everything that occurs in a computer system. So therefore, my friends, that marks the end of this section A. Let us jump right into section B. Alright, this is section B of our question paper. There are 15 questions in this question, or in this section rather. Let us answer the first question. Question 1 reads as follows. To read checks, banks use dash, while information on products sold in supermarkets is captured using dash, and to mark multiple choice examinations, the dash is used. So what are the three answers here? So these are the three answers. A magnetic ink character read recognition or reader, MICR, is used to read checks. Okay, this is what the banks use. This is the answer here. Then information on products sold in supermarkets is captured using a barcode reader. And to mark multiple choice examinations, the optical mark recognition is used. So these are the three answers for question 1. Let us go to question 2. A computer is made up of the dash and the dash. What are these answers? So the computer is made up of hardware and the software. This is very simple and straightforward. Question 3 reads as follows. In a spreadsheet, you can enter values, dash, and labels. So what are the answer? Or the answer rather? Formulas. We all know that a spreadsheet program is a program used to do mathematical calculations on data and so on, perform different data operations. Therefore, formulas are a must, and formulas are highly used in Excel. It is known for formulas and all that stuff. So therefore, the answer here is formulas. Clearly, it's not the only answer here, but formula is the most widely feature of Excel or a spreadsheet program. Let us go to question 4. The parts of a mailbox of an email system include what? Spam, dash, and dash. So the answers are inbox, which shows the messages that are going in that have been received, outbox, all the messages that have been sent out, and drafts, all those messages that are or emails that are waiting for you to send. So these are the some of the parts of a mailbox of an email system. Let's go to question 5. A collection of pictures stored in a word processor to choose from is called what? And a collection of documents is stored in a dash. So in a word processor such as Microsoft Word, a collection of pictures is stored where? So it's stored in the clip art. Okay, so in the clip art, that is where you choose a collection of pictures from. And a collection of documents is stored in a folder. So in a folder, that's where we put files. That's where documents such as files, music, videos, all those are stored in a folder. So that's the answer or answers for this question. So question 6 read as follows. Switching a computer on from a shutdown is known as dash, and restarting it while it is on is known as what? So when a computer is off and you switch it on, that is called a cold boot. Whereas when it was on, then you restart it, this is called a warm boot or a soft boot. So those are the two answers. If you want to get familiar with this concept, just think about a computer when it has not been working, as in it's off, then you switch it on. It was cold, not so. So that is cold boot. But when it's operating, it's more like it's warm. Then you're just restarting it. Okay, so if you want, you can use this analogy to familiarize yourself with this concept. Question 7 says, features of a word processor includes dash and dash. So you are free to include any feature. There are multiple features, but for me, I can think of grammar check, synonyms, spell checker. So all these are the features of a word processor. Let us go to question 8. The general term for business done using the internet is what? So it is called e-commerce or electronic commerce, because we are doing business or commerce using the internet. Simple as that. Let us go to question 9. Question 9 says, commonly used ports of desktop computers are for connecting dash and dash on a desktop computer. So the commonly used ports are used to connect what? So they are used to connect input or output devices, VGA cables. So these are the two answers. VGA cables are video graphic array cables. They are used to connect your computer system to the monitor and so on and so forth. So these are the uses of the commonly used ports. Let us go to question 10. The two types of desktop publisher DTP frames for entering information are what? So when you're using a desktop publisher, what do we use to enter information? Well, we can use text box. So these are just like boxes where you enter texts inside. So they contain the text so that you can move it and structure a document in any way that you like. And shapes, obviously. So these are the two frames that are used to enter information. Yeah, I think that marks the end of section B. So let us jump right into section C. Alright, this is section C. Let us answer the questions that follows. So question 1 says, study the storage devices shown below and answer the questions that follow. So we have this storage device A, this one is B, and this one is C. So the questions read, identify the storage devices above. So what are the names of these storage devices above? So the first one, which is A, is called a memory card or an SD card. All those are valid answers. B is the hard disk or the hard drive. C is the memory stick, commonly known as the flash drive. So these are the appropriate names for the labeled storage devices or storage media devices. Let us go to part B. Use letters A, B, C to arrange the above devices in decreasing order of storage capacity. So what this basically or simply means is that we should start with the device that stores the most of the data until we reach the one that stores the least amount of data. So B, clearly the hard disk or the hard drive stores huge amounts of data. That is why it is used on computer systems, because computer systems require lots of files to function. So then there is C, a flash or memory stick. It's also very able to store huge amounts of data. It has high storage capacity because it's used to transfer data, so it should be very high in capacity. Then we have A, which is the memory card or the SD card. So B stores most of the data. It has high storage capacity, followed by C, followed by A. Let us jump right into part C. Why is A used on phones or digital cameras instead of B? So why is the reason why A is used? So why do we use A in phones or digital cameras? Well, because it is enough to meet the needs of the phone. Phones clearly don't need to store huge amounts of data, so that's why it's convenient. Plus, it's very lightweight, it's very portable. You can carry it in your pocket and all that stuff. It doesn't carry too much space. This is a general question. Feel free to write whichever answer is appropriate for this question. Okay. Let us go to question 2. Study the diagram below of a spreadsheet extracted which shows two separate ranges of numbers and answer the questions that follow. So as you can see, these are two separate ranges of answers. The reason why they are separate is because there is a gap between them. As you can see, it's starting from 40, from A1, which is 40, to A2, which is 60. Then there is a gap. Then it continues A5 to A7. So that's the range. So let us answer the questions. Explain how you can highlight the separate ranges of data. So how can we highlight? What's the answer? The answer is that we hold the control key, which will press using our keyboard while selecting the cells. So let us open Microsoft Excel and I'll show you what I mean by using the control button and selecting the cells. Let me enter the data as we have been given. So A1 as 40, followed by 60, then A5 as 70, which is this 70, followed by 80, followed by 90. So now the question is, how can you highlight? So if I hold my keyboard control button, I will be able to highlight them individually. As you can see, I click once, as you can see, I've managed now to select all the highlighted. It will be very impossible to click and drag because there is a gap. As you can see, I'm also selecting these empty cells, but by holding my control keyboard button, I'm able to just click any cell with the data and it shall be highlighted. So that's what I mean when I say hold the control key while selecting the cell. Let us go to the next question. How can you move highlighted content in A above to column D? So this content in column A, how can we move it? The content we are from highlighting, how can we move it to column D, this column here? So what should we do? We can cut the highlighted content and paste it in column D. We cannot copy. You should be very careful because the question is saying move. When we are moving something, we don't leave it where it was. Moving something means we cut it. Unless they said copy. Now they are saying cut. So since they are saying moving, we should cut and paste it somewhere. Cut is simply the fancy term for moving. Okay, so let me show you. So here is what we do. We cannot press Ctrl X because we are using multiple ranges. These are two ranges. If we attempt to press a Ctrl X to cut, we're going to obtain an error. As you can see, Excel is saying that this can't be done on multiple range selections. So it's suggesting that we select a single range and try again. So what we have to do is click and drag it, then press Ctrl X. As you can see, Excel now feels good about what we have done. Then we can just click on the column that we want to paste our data into. Then we press Ctrl V. So as you can see, we have pasted our information. So that's what happens. If you say press Control, you cut using press Ctrl X, it won't happen. So you have to select just one range, then you copy it. That's when it's going to happen, as I have demonstrated. So as you can see, that's how we do it. C says as follows: the current sheet is saved as expenses. Explain how to rename it as income. So what do we do? So what's the answer here? Let us see the answer. So you hover the mouse over the expense and right click to see options and select rename. So what do they mean? So if you go back to Microsoft Excel, you're able to see, by the way, this is called a workbook. Just as you know the regular book at school, and the book has multiple pages, so a workbook has multiple worksheets. So as you can see, this is worksheet 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So imagine this was called in the question, what is it called? In the question it is called expenses, not so. It is called expenses. So this is the name of the worksheet, expense. Now in the question they're telling us that the current worksheet is saved as expenses. Explain how you can rename it as income. All you have to do is hover your mouse over this label, right click your mouse to bring options, then you go on rename and you'll be able to rename it as income and hit enter to save the name. So that's how you rename a worksheet. So that's what we mean when we say hover the mouse over the expenses, right click to see the options and then select rename. So that's the answer. Now let's go to question 3. Question 3 says as follows: part of a network at Kalenbela School is shown below. Study it and use it to answer the questions that follow. So this is part of a network. The question reads as follows: What network is shown above? So what kind of network is shown above? As you can see, this is a small network. It only has 2 computers and a backbone here, a server, and all that stuff. So what do we call this network? The network is called a local area network. This is a small network, so therefore it's a local area network. B says, what is the purpose of hardware X and Y on the network? So this is hardware X and this is hardware Y. So this is the router and this is the server. So what's the purpose? So X is a router and it is used to connect the computer to the internet. Y is the server and it's used to access, hold and transfer files and data between computers on the network. So those are the purposes of hardware X and Y. Let us move on to part C. State 2 disadvantages of this network. So what are the disadvantages of this local area network? One disadvantage is that it covers a limited area. You cannot extend it. It's very small. Okay, so this is a disadvantage. And the other disadvantage is that it is expensive to set up because you need to buy all the necessary hardware. You need to buy the cables and all that stuff. So these are the disadvantages. You can feel free to explore this as clearly more than 2 answers, obviously, but feel free to explore any appropriate answer that can fit into this question. D says, what term is used to describe www.examinationscouncil.org ZM? So what do we call this type of arrangement of text? We call this domain or URL, a domain name or uniform resource locator. So this is what we use to access a website. It can be www.google.com, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and all that stuff. So that's what we call it. We call it a domain name. Different websites have different domain names. So this is clearly a website. And by telling, just from looking at the last word there, you're able to tell that it's a Zambian website, ZM. So let us look at E. Identify the parts numbered 1, 2, and 3. So this is 1, www. Then we have Examination Council, which is 2. Then we have the .org.zm at the end. So what do we call this? So the first one is called the subdomain, the www. This is called the subdomain. Then 2, Examinations Council. This is called the domain name. Then we have the domain extension, or we like to call it in computer terms top level domain, which is the .org. You can have the .net, .com. So .org simply means that it's an organization or website. We can have .com, which is a commercial website for businesses. We have different extensions. There is .xyz, and so on and so forth. So we have different. There is .net. So all those are domain extensions. All right. Let us go to question 4. The diagram below represents the main parts of a computer system. Use it to answer the questions that follows. So this is part of a computer system. We have an input device here. We have secondary storage. And let us look at the questions. The question says, name and describe the components labeled A to D. So labeled A all the way to D. So what are the answers? To make things simple for you to understand, I'm going to simplify things on this question. All you have to know is D here has its own rectangle, not so. So it's separate from whatever is in this giant rectangle here. This giant rectangle here you are seeing is what we call the CPU, or the central processing unit. So this thing, whatever falls inside this giant rectangle, is what is responsible for processing. So D is clearly not responsible for processing, so it's separate, and therefore D is the output or output device in this when we are referring to this part here. So this is input device, then D is clearly output device. Then A, you can jumble A, B and C whichever way you like, because the order doesn't matter here, but clearly there are three components. You can use the arithmetic logic unit, the control unit, or the RAM for letters A, B or C, and it shall be marked. But for D, it's separate from this central processing unit. Therefore, it is the output device. Hopefully, I've made myself clear. I know this is very technical, but bear with me. B says, on the diagram above, use arrows to indicate the direction of how data flows in a computer. So let me get an arrow somewhere, and let me see if I can do something here. So clearly, when you're using a computer system, data flows from input device such as a keyboard into the processor. So you process, so it goes in that direction. So now, after doing that, we all know that the central processing unit processes data and information. So that data may be stored in a secondary storage device such as a hard drive. Let's say you want to edit a video and it is stored in a secondary storage. So that video must move from the secondary storage to the central processing unit, not so. Then after processing has been done, that data needs to be stored for future use. So it goes out or comes out from the central processing unit, then it is stored back in the secondary storage. Then it is displayed to the user. In case you want to display it, it is displayed to you using an output device such as a monitor or speaker if it's relating to audio files such as music. It will be outputted using your speaker or through the speaker. If it's an image or video, it will be outputted using the monitor, and so on and so forth. So this is the flow of data. I think this marks the end of part or question 4. Let us go to the last and final question of this question paper. Question 5. Lemelelo bought a computer to use at home during the lockdown period of the COVID-19 for e-learning and shopping. So these are the questions that follows. Name 2 things required for him to be connected to enable e-learning and shopping to take place. So what are the 2 things that he needs to have that are required of him in order for him to learn using the internet and shop? So the answers are modem or router. We need a modem and router to connect us to the internet, and that will take us to a website for carrying out shopping, and also to any website that is conducting e-learning. And we also need an internet service provider in order for us to access the internet, such as MTN, Airtel, and all those networks. So those are the answers. B says, state 2 things which the Lemelelo should guard against once on the internet. So what are the 2 answers? The 2 answers are that cyber crimes, e.g. hacking and malicious software. So Lemelelo needs to be very conscious when he's using the internet. He should be very meticulous, because the internet is full of different types of people who are willing to do anything to gain access to different systems such as your computer system. So you should be aware of malicious software and cyber crimes. By the way, malicious software means any software that behaves in a strange way. Alright? C says, how should Lemelelo protect himself from the concerns in B? So all these things that we are from mentioning, cyber crimes and malicious software, how can he protect himself from them? So what are the solutions? Well, he should visit and download software from trusted websites. So because when you go on a website that is not trusted, you cannot take that case or matter to court or anything, because that website, you don't know the owners, you don't know their offices, if they're operational and all that stuff. So it's very important that you visit only authorized and official websites. So those are the answers, and that marks the end of our question paper. Well, thank you very much everyone for paying attention, for taking your time to learn this wonderful subject called computer studies. If you enjoyed the video, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel, because we provide content on a regular basis, and this content is packed with lots of information that can not only benefit you as a student, but as an individual in general, because we are in the information age. You need to be acquainted with certain terminologies and knowledge in order to do certain things in your life. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful and pleasant day. And if you are writing the exam this coming month, I wish you all the best.